Today's rant comes to us from a video with the atheist Sam Harris doing what Sam Harris does, hoist up atheism as a non-religion religion.
Religious beliefs are inherent. Everyone has them, even atheists. You may not worship God, but you're going to worship something, and that's true.
He's going to make the same classic claims that usually get made to disprove God, and none of it is based off any evidence that's ever been produced. And in fact, I think people should know that there's been a lot of physical evidence produced through archaeology and through science that has proven claims of the Bible and has actually disproven a lot of claims of evolution. But Sam Harris and many atheists out there have no problem dismissing evidence that exists, or in many cases not even knowing that evidence exists that counter the claims that they make. So therefore they can continue forth with an ignorance and sell ignorance to many people. So let's roll into it.
Okay, the whole point of Christianity, or so it is imagined, is to safeguard the eternal well-being of human souls. I think we should look at the consequences of believing in this framework, this theistic framework, in this world, and what these moral underpinnings actually would be. 9 million children die every year before they reach the age of 5. Okay, it's 24,000 children a day, 1,000 an hour, 17 or so a minute. That means before I can get to the end of this sentence, some few children, very likely, will have died in terror and agony.
This is a sad jumping off point for an argument to say that because some people live to 100 and some people die as children and some people die at 50, that then proves there's no God. But that's a sad argument to start with.
Any God who would allow children by the millions to suffer and die in this way, and their parents to grieve in this way, either can do nothing to help them or doesn't care to. He is therefore either impotent or evil.
It never states in the Bible that bad things won't happen because a God exists. Only atheism makes the claim that somehow if there were a God, that only good things would happen all the time. And it's a very philosophically childish argument to make. It would be to wish that humans can't die when that's what humans do, even if there were no God.
Okay, there are 1.2 billion people in India at this moment. Most of them are Hindus, most of them therefore polytheists. Okay, in Dr. Craig's universe, no matter how good these people are, they are doomed. Okay, so God created the cultural isolation of the Hindus. Okay, he engineered the circumstance of their deaths in ignorance of revelation. And then he created the penalty for this ignorance, which is an eternity of conscious torment in fire.
But the claim that God is making is not that claim. You are making that claim upon God. You are making that claim and imposing it upon religion and upon what you think believers in God think. And this is, again, another huge lie sold by atheism. But the ignorance that you're playing upon to make people believe that there is no God, that is actually a damning action. You are putting forth a damning action, not the people who are ignorant to Jesus and God, but to someone like yourself who's been introduced, but actually makes claims and produces false evidence to claim that God doesn't exist. That is someone who's going to hell, not someone who's never been introduced to it. Ignorance to something does not damn you, but being offered something and turning it down damns you.
Okay, on the other hand, on Dr. Craig's account, your run-of-the-mill serial killer in America, okay, who spent his life raping and torturing children, need only come to God, come to Jesus on death row, and after a final meal of fried chicken, he's going to spend an eternity in heaven after death.
It never states any of this in the Bible. It never states anything that repentance is the only thing that matters. It actually, on many occasions, points to the fact that your deeds are the most important thing that you do on this planet. And therefore, acceptance of Jesus is important. and acceptance of God is important, but not as important as your deeds. So even if you on your death row decide to accept Jesus, doesn't mean that you're saved over somebody who had no idea of Jesus but treated people awesome his whole life. So your argument is just based in lack of logic to begin with, and wants people to believe that God is this all hateful thing because he doesn't do all amazing things all the time to just never allow for any bad thing to exist.
But when someone like myself points out the rather obvious and compelling evidence that God is cruel and unjust because he visits suffering on innocent people.
Lions eat gazelles even if a God existed. If natural law is gravity and someone falls off a building to their death, is that God's fault? Or is that a natural law that he created that you went against and you fell down and you died? That is the natural law taking effect. That is not God being a mean man, or that is not proof that there is no God. That is proof that gravity exists and that God created a gravity and he will not intervene every time you have a mishap and want him to violate those laws of nature that he created.
Okay, if you wake up tomorrow morning thinking that saying a few Latin words over your pancakes is going to turn them into the body of Elvis Presley, okay, you have lost your mind. Okay? But if you think more or less the same thing about a cracker and the body of Jesus, you're just a Catholic.
The fact that you can sit there and make that claim is unbelievably stupid. And I think you know that that's unbelievably stupid and a complete false claim. That no one believes that that's what's happening. No one believes that you're eating a piece of God. But it takes more faith to be an atheist than it does to believe all of the evidence of God's existence.
Whenever you have a religious movement with no God at the center, you have disaster. That's what Marxism was.
Thanks to all my subscribers. Thanks to all my new subscribers. Thanks for watching. Later.